Hello, friends, and thank you for tuning in to Power of Purpose Radio. My name is Dr. Robert J. Parker of New Perception Consulting Service, LLC. And also, I'd like to thank Latoya Liddell for this opportunity to speak to you all. I also have with us in the studio today a very good friend. Her name is Debra Chaplin. She's an associate of New Perception Consulting Service, and she's a grant specialist. I would like to thank her so much for coming in to the studio today to talk to you, and we're going to be discussing a very important subject, and the subject is about grants. Think about this. When you have a relative or a family member that's very well-to-do, you know that, or you feel that you're in a very good position as far as finances, far as a home, far as your education. Do you know you do have a relative, someone that's very wealthy? I would go as far as to say rich, and you are able to get anything you need. That relative to you is, lo and behold, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam has everything you need concerning your finances, your education, property, and whatever else you may need. But enough of who you are and the ability to get what you need from Uncle Sam. And I'd like now to introduce to you our very special guest, Debra Chaplin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our program. I want to talk to you about grants and how you may get grants, how many grants are available, if there are grants available. I want to talk to you about whether or not you can get a grant. I have 35 years of grant writing experience. I am a specialist in grants management, grants writing. I actually can take a project that you may already have that has not been successful and turn it around and make it successful so you can get money for your organization. I specialize in nonprofit formation and nonprofit funds, but we do work with for-profit organizations. We also work with individuals who may be trying to get money for education, repairs for their home, all types of grants. Today we want to specialize on the nonprofit segment and how you may get a grant to start your nonprofit or to enhance the nonprofit that you already have.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. For the benefit of our listening audience, in the simplest term, can you tell them what is a grant and who is eligible for one?
A grant is simply money that you don't have to pay back. A grant can be obtained from another nonprofit. It can be obtained from the federal government, the state government, even your local government. Even as much as your congressmen, your senators, they all have grant money that's available. Basically, you have to place yourself in a position to be able to qualify for those grant monies. You basically have to have the same mission that they have. If that mission is to help young African American students to excel in college, then you have to be that African American student to help yourself excel and get that grant money. You may be a person who wants to have some repairs done to their home. Well, then you have to have that home to get those repairs. Basically, you're meeting the mission of that organization by putting yourself in the position to get those funds. There are funds available for nonprofits. Your nonprofit simply has to have the same mission. You have to have the same goals. And what we do is we help you to find those organizations that have the same mission as you have. There may be you may have very, very specific goals. Say, for instance, helping the homeless, or perhaps just expanding your nonprofit. You may just need some money to help with operating costs, pay some salaries, get some office supplies. There are grants that are available for you. A lot of people ask me whether or not the grant situation has changed, whether or not there are no more grants out there because of our economy. But I want to explain to you that just because our economy is not at its tip-top condition, it does not mean that the grants do not exist. Quite the contrary. When we have a situation where we are in a recession such as we have, there are organizations that are willing to give their funds. They're just looking for that particular organization that's going to meet their objectives and their goals and can accomplish what it is that they want to have done.
Excellent, excellent. Very well done. Matter of fact, that was my other question to you. In the day economics of everything's happening around us, several years back, I believe in 2008, Katrina, flood, 9/11 that just went past was that terrorism. And then now we have the political running. We have in nominations of the president that's running for the presidency. Does that affect the grants or has it dried up?
Grants have in no way dried up. As a matter of fact, when there are activities, there are incidences or occurrences such as what we have seen over the past decade, usually there are monies that are put in place specifically to help in those areas. Take, for instance, let's even go back as far as 9/11. Right now, we're on the anniversary of 9/11. And there are grant funds out there to say, for instance, to help veterans and to help families of those that were lost in 9/11, tsunamis, earthquakes, even when we're talking about flooding in a particular area. We've had across this country a lot of devastation with flooding and fires. The federal government puts in place monies that are there to help people in the recovery period. Basically, you really just need to have someone who can find those dollars for you. And that's what we do. We help you to find those dollars. We find your need, and then we help you to fulfill it. Grants have in no way dried up. There are always organizations, and as a matter of fact, there are some organizations that must give away their monies in order to remain nonprofit, in order to remain in place. They have to give away their money at a certain time of year in order to maintain their status. So monies have in no way dried up. We just need to help you to find what it is that you're looking for.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. I was in a meeting about 3 months ago, and what came up in the meeting, how do we know about the grants or funds available from the foundations, private corporations? Is it something that's announced every day, every other day, once a month, 6 months? How is that process available?
Well, grants are announced every day, believe it or not. There are grants that are announced every day. I won't say that every organization announces a new grant every day. That's not so. However, there are organizations all across the country, including the federal government and your local and state governments, who do have grants available. Grants are never due on the same day. All grants are not due at the same time. They are revolving and ongoing. And you have grant organizations that put out new money. They put new money out every day. Now, in terms of how you will find those monies, you can go through the expense of subscribing to organizations that actually list grants. There are several organizations that do that, and they charge you a fee for that every year. You can even pay for it on a weekly basis. Some of them you can pay for them on a monthly basis, and some of them you can do even on an annual basis. However, that's what our organization does for you. Part of your relationship with our company includes our ability to research those things for you. Yeah. When you enlist our assistance, we have a program whereby we can actually research those grants for you. We research the missions and goals and your aspirations, the things that you want to accomplish. We locate those grants for you, and then we present them to you and let you know what their requirements are, and we help to bring your organization up to be what I like to call grant ready.
Yeah.
To be able to be ready to apply for grants. Not all organizations are ready. You may feel that you're ready, but all organizations have specific requirements, and you must meet those specific requirements in order to get those grants. We help you to get to that place. So, as I said before, you can enlist and pay for these organizations that list these grants. You can even call your local congressmen and your local senators and find out whether or not there are grants available. But our organization can help you with that because we do it on a daily basis. We have the regular emails that come in and tell us XYZ number of dollars are available from this organization, and this is what they're looking for, and what the deadline is, and what the requirements are. We can do all of that work for you.
Great, excellent, excellent. What's my main concern and the concern of others? Those people that goes to you or whoever they go to for a grant application or to apply for a grant. When this person or organization is rejected the first time, maybe the second time, what can you tell our radio audience is all hope is lost?
Hope is never lost. There's no such thing as never being able to get a grant. And I say that because if you come to us for assistance, our main goal is to help you get what you want. And we won't stop until that's accomplished. Now, you may come to us and we may say, you're not just grant ready yet. There are some things that we need to put in place in order to help you get to that point. You may not get the first grant. You may not, and believe me, most organizations that have only been in place for a year or two, you cannot expect to see that $100,000, $200,000. But someone may say, okay, we'll give him $50,000 this year, see what they do with it. And then next year, we'll look at, if they do well, give them $100,000. Your first application may not pass, but let me tell you what we will do. If we prepared a grant application for you that is not successful, what we're going to do is we're going to contact the organization and ask them, what do we need to do to make this a successful application? What is it about this application that did not get approval? And with those things, with that knowledge, then we can fix it. And we can reapply for the next round of funding, and the next time, get the grant.
Excellent, excellent. I believe you answered this question, but let me put it to you this way. A person that applied for the grant from a particular foundation or corporation, that person that applied and was rejected, does they enter into some type of system that they kind of, I would say, maybe blackball, and other companies won't pick them up because they have already been turned down by this foundation or corporation? How does the process will work on something like that, as far as them going to keep on going?
Well, if your application does not pass, it does not mean in any way that you're blackballed. An application that does not pass simply means that your application didn't meet the requirements of this particular program. Okay. That same application can be submitted to another program and it will pass. That's the reason that we prepare for you several avenues, several organizations that we can submit your package to. We have a program whereby we will research for you and give you 25 different applicants, 25 different resources, and apply to all of them. Some of them may turn you down. Some of them may give you money. You may be turned down by all of them. But the thing is, we need to get your application out there. Get it out there, find out what it is that you have to offer, get it out there to see whether or not you are grant ready, see whether or not we can get your application passed. just because you don't get it passed the first time, even with the same organization. You know, one thing about organizations that do give out grants, especially foundations, if they pick your company, especially if you sent a letter of intent, which is a letter that says, I want to submit an application to your organization, can I do that? And they say yes. If they turn down your application the first time, they are most willing to talk with you to let you know what it is about your application that did not meet their standards. Okay. And they will give you the opportunity to correct it. One thing about grants, if organizations that give grants, they're not looking for necessarily people that they can just give money to just for giving the money to them. Mm-hmm. Organizations that give out grant funds are looking for organizations that have a mission and goals and objectives that are similar to theirs. They look at you as an extension of who they are. So if they give you an opportunity to submit an application, they're looking to fulfill their mission and their goals in giving you that application and giving you that those grant funds. So once they have approved your application, they know that your project is going to make their organization look good. That's why they want to give you the money, because by giving you the money, they compound their ability to be able to get out and say, to help the homeless, to feed the hungry, to be able to provide housing to low-income individuals. They may be able to do it on a smaller scale with their company and their group of organizations, but with 5, 10, 15, 20, 35 organizations that they give $50,000 to, it automatically compounds the number of people that they can impact. And that's why they want to give you the money.
Excellent, excellent. That is so awesome. Very good information. I mean, I'm learning a lot here today. Let me roll out this scenario. A company, and this has, in meetings came up, a company that's not a nonprofit company, applying for a grant versus a company or business that is a 501c3. What is the pros and cons and advantages of having that IRS designation versus someone that doesn't?
Okay, that's a question that I hear a lot. I get a lot of companies that want to apply, for-profit companies that want to apply for grant funds. But let me say that for-profit companies, when they go after the grants, most of the time, grant funds, large amounts of grant funds, are given to companies that have a research component to their organization. Okay. They will fulfill some type of study, some type of research that an organization wants that company to complete in order to get those grant funds. Now, there are there's research in all areas. I mean, even in construction. Yeah. You know, there's research in all types of areas. And most companies that, organizations, I'll say, that want to give grant funds to for-profit organizations, they do want you to have a match. Not to say that there are not organizations in the nonprofit sector that don't require you to have a match, but in most cases, for-profit organizations, they require you to have a match of sometimes up to 100%. If they're going to give you $50,000, they want you to have $50,000 in the bank set aside that's going to go towards this same project. That's right. And that's basically because they know that once you finish this project, you're going to make money. You're going to make money off of this. So they have to have something that they're going to get out of this as well. Now, for a nonprofit, it's different. You're a nonprofit organization. True, there's some money to be made there, but your goal, your objectives are not to make money. Your goal and your objective is to do whatever your mission statement says about your organization. So nonprofits are less likely to have to supply a match. There are some now. I'm not going to say that there are none of them, but there are a lot of organizations that do not require you to have a match. They do require you, and I say this to companies all the time. They do require you to meet IRS guidelines, meaning that you have to have submitted your tax returns, you have to have had an audit of your organization to make sure that you can handle the money that they're sending to you. They want to make sure that if they give you $50,000, that the $50,000 is going to be spent on the project that you said it was going to be spent on, and that at the end of this project, you can give them some measurable results. The same with a for-profit organization. If they're doing research for an organization that's giving them money, they're going to be able to give them measurable results that says, okay, we have an hypothesis here, and we believe that this, and this will happen if we do this. And at the end of that, you're going to say, yes, 50% of this happened, 75% of that happened, and these are our measurable results. These are actual figures that prove that this hypothesis is true or it's false.
Excellent, excellent. Now, with that being said, the company that is for profit, we know that they will make money to support themselves, to eat, to have transportation and equipment. That's coming out of their profit, and that's what they're in business for.
Right.
Versus a non-profit company, is they're able to do the same thing, support themselves, eat, buy equipment to live on, because the misconception is that once you receive a grant, that grant is for the specific project, but it doesn't say anything about the person that's applying for the grant. So how do that?
Well, for nonprofits, your grant that you write for, depending upon what you are writing for, you can stipulate salaries, you can stipulate operating expenses, office supplies, equipment. It's basically based upon what the organization will give you. Federal guidelines will permit salaries. It's hard to say that no, they won't, yes, they will. It's all based upon the grant that you apply for. You can apply for a grant from the federal government that says we'll give you $150,000 over a 3-year period. Okay. Inside that, they may pay 50% of somebody's salary, somebody's weekly salary for a year or for both years of the grant. That means that you can pay somebody 20 hours a week, yes, 20 hours a week to work on this project. You can pay for your office supplies. You can pay for, you may need to buy a laptop or computers or printers. You know, you may need to buy toiletries for your bathrooms. Basically, you put all of that information in your grant. If the grantor will pay for that, then yes, you can pay for that. There are some nonprofit organizations whose salaries, everything that they have, are run solely on grants. Right. That you operate based on grants. It all depends upon the organization. And if you are a nonprofit organization and that is what you need, then that is what you need to look for when you're looking for an application, a project to apply for. You may need to have several grants in order to be able to fulfill your mission for a particular project. You may need to get salaries from one grant, operating costs from another grant, and equipment from another grant. But what you do is in those grant applications, you put down that from XYZ Foundation, they're giving us $25,000 to pay for a clerk. And then from JKL organization, they're giving us $50,000 for the year to buy equipment. And then from this corporation over here, they're giving us money to say, to house the homeless for 1 year. So you look for those grants that will pay for what it is that you need. And there are so many different grants out there, so many different foundations out there. It's impossible for me to tell you how many that have such a wide variety of things that they will fund that, you know, it's not impossible for you to find funding for everything that you will need.
Right, great. Now, this next question, I know everybody is waiting on it. Is this, I'm a person who wants to apply for a grant, and I know I need a 501c3 or to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Is this an expensive endeavor? Do I have to have $10,000 and $20,000 in reserve in my back pocket before I even get started?
No, no, you don't have to have thousands of dollars to get started. There are fees that have to be paid to the federal government for getting your 501c3. It's basically an IRS 1023 form that needs to be filed. There's even an IRS 1023 easy form for those nonprofits that have not been in existence that long, or even a nonprofit that's been in existence for one day. There's a low fee that you have to pay to the federal government. We can do all of those applications and file all of those for you. And there's a flat fee that we do that for. Thousands of dollars, no. You can get your nonprofit 501c3 for less than $1,000.
Okay, excellent, excellent. That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I applied for a grant, and this is what has been questioned, they had in their mind that I can get a grant for anything, for picking up nails off the ground. What is the limitations or the pros and cons? What's the realistic goal when you think about or talk about applying for a grant?
The realistic goals are basically whatever the foundation, federal government, state government, local government says they will pay you money for.
Okay.
If the job is, and I've seen jobs, we want to find out why. We want to find out why people are using the emergency room as a daily place for care. Yeah, that seems like an average question. I remember when I saw the grant, I thought, well, the reason they use the emergency room is because they don't have the money to pay for a regular doctor.
Right.
And the emergency room will bill them. But they don't want to hear my explanation. They want to see research that actually backs that up.
Okay.
So they will give you $50,000, $100,000 to give them actual research and find out by questioning folks, why is it that they use the emergency room?
Okay.
If there's a grant out there that will give you money for picking up nails, and as ridiculous as that may sound, there are grants that will give, there are organizations that will give you money for things that may seem silly. Well, the reason is because that particular grant, that particular money that they're giving to you, it meets their goal, it meets their objective. So whatever that is, as long as your organization has all of the requirements necessary for you to meet the requirements of that organization, sure, you can apply for it. As silly as some grants may seem, or even as complicated as some grants may seem, there's money out there for just about anything. You just need to know how to find it.
Great, excellent, excellent. Now, when I go on this endeavor, do I have to have in place already a board of directors, people working for me, or can I just start as an individual?
There are grants available for individuals. As a nonprofit, however, there are things that you must have in place that establishes a nonprofit. In order to be a nonprofit in the first place, you must have already submitted your application with the state, whatever state that may be, to allow you to become an organization that says this organization actually is a legitimate organization that exists. Once you have done that, you take that paperwork and you submit that to the IRS, and they will or will not issue you a nonprofit status. There's a nonprofit letter that actually will give you an ID number. Once you have done that, that will allow your organization to become a nonprofit organization, and you can submit grants. There are grants, however, that are out there for individuals as well. In those cases, you don't have to be a nonprofit. As an individual, I may just be trying to find some money so I can go to school. There are grants out there that can help you do that. There are even grants out there that can help you do, I know there's one organization I remember seeing that will pay you $60,000 in salary. This organization will give you 1 year's salary of $60,000 for you to perform or do an activity that you enjoy. They've given money to people for helping the young people in their recreation center to learn how to play the piano. They've given money to people who want to bring young people together just to help them with arts and crafts. They give you the salary for $60,000 and you do the job. There are organizations out there that will help you do all kinds of things. And that's why we're here, because we have the resources that we can find those things for you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. If I'm a person not living in the Maryland, not even living in the metropolitan area, anywhere close, but I'm in California, can you still help that person even though it's out of our perimeter or our location?
Well, you know, the internet is a wonderful thing. And when a grant application is due, most of the time, nowadays, grant applications are usually done electronically. There are still some organizations that require you to have those papers in hand, and they want you to submit it to them on paper and pencil. But a lot of grants nowadays, they have their own grant management system, and they want you to submit it directly through their grant management system. So it doesn't matter whether you're in the United States or in Africa. We can still work with you. We can help you get grants that are that will allow you to do things internationally. Your location is not the establishing thing. It's not the thing that determines whether or not you get grants. There are grants that are specific to Maryland. There are grants that are specific to California or any place in the country. There are some organizations that will only supply grants to Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. But whatever area you live in the country, we can find a grant that will address those issues where you are located.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, so our time is about winding up. Again, I thank you so much for being associate, a part of the organization, and thank you so much in your specialty, being a grant specialist, because I know people need that. I'd like to have just one quick question. May help a lot of people out there. If I'm at the age of 65, and you know how people that's retired having a hard time still making their bills and making ends meet, can you still help that person with her?
Grants don't address age. There are grants out there. You know, the senior citizen population, there are grants out there that are available to you that are available to no one else, especially from your local government. Money to fix your house, money to pay your mortgage, money to get a new furnace in your home. You know, pharmaceutical companies, I can't tell you the number of pharmaceuticals that will give you grants just to pay for your medications. There are just grants out there that are available to senior citizens that are just not available to anyone else. As a matter of fact, I just came across one for the citizens of Baltimore City. Well, they will give you $350 a year, just once a year, to pay for anything in your home if you're 65 or more. Things like buy a new washing machine, maybe replace your plumbing, some of your plumbing in your house, up to $350, even if you just want to maybe pay some doctor's bills. There's money out there for senior citizens. There's money out there for senior citizens that no one else can get because you have to be 65 in order to get it. So just because you're 65, that does not disinclude you from getting grants.
Great, great. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Robert J. Parker, New Perception Consulting Service, LLC. And I encourage you, radio audience, if you have anything in mind, I encourage you to send for a grant package. You can actually get in contact with us through our website, email, or text. My email address is rjparker697@gmail.com, or you can go on our website, New Perception Consulting Service, LLC. We have a portion there, a space there that you put your name, address, and telephone number and request a grant package. And I'll now turn it over to, for last remarks and anything you'd like to say, about us, and you can also encourage them to get a grant package from your website also.
Yes, I encourage you, if you're interested in any type of grants, don't discount. Never tell yourself that there's no money out there for you. We encourage you to check with us. Contact us. Contact Robert Parker or myself. My email address is Chaplin Group, that's CHAPLIN Group @outlook.com. You may reach me by telephone at 443-220-3531, or you may go to the website and order the grant package. The grant package will also include a coupon in there to get a 1-hour consultation. You can get a 1-hour consultation with us, and we can explore your options. So please give us a call or contact us by email or visit our website and order your grant package today.
Great. Thank you again so much. This has been so informative. It's been awesome. And I like to say till next time, this is Dr. Robert J. Parker, New Perception, and here with me is the awesome grant specialist, Debra Chaplin. And you can contact her or contact either one of us. You will still get the grant package, and you'll have that 1 hour
Yes, 1 hour.
free consultation to explore your options. And until next time, we'd like to thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on next Saturday at 1 o'clock at powerofpurposeradio.com.